Hare Krishna, everyone. So we are continuing from the previous discussion, but this is a new video and we are starting chapter 3. So once again, we will start with the Mangalacharan prayers quickly. There's no harm in reciting the Mangalacharan again and again and again. It's a good thing. It takes just 2 minutes of extra time. So Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatha Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All right, so we are back in our series here and we are going to start chapter 3. So I will share the slides. Chapter 3. The title is Karma Yoga. Okay, and it starts with a question by Arjuna. So before that, the context of the question is this 2.38. I told you it's a seminal verse, very important verse. Okay. So that's why we are referring to it again and again. So there's a recall. Recall means please remember that there are two options that Arjuna was given. Of course, there's a third option, which is at a material level. But we are talking now above the material level. So that's rising above the material options, which is either you don't fight, but in a pure spiritual consciousness. That's okay. If you choose to not fight in a spiritual consciousness, not because, oh, I don't want to get sin and, my family members and my dear uncle, my grandfather, not for those reasons, purely from a spiritual consciousness that we are all spirit souls. What's the point of fighting? And anyway, fighting, killing, they won't die. Or you fight, but with no material considerations. I'm simply fighting, not to win, not to lose. Just I'm doing the duty. Right? So these are the two options, isn't it? Yes. No confusion, right? So Arjuna says, I get these two options. You are recommending which one? Which one is Krishna recommending? The second one, correct? Arjuna's question is why? Why are you telling me the second one, not the first one? Okay. So that is the question. Why fight at all? So I'm not going to go and read this, but I'm telling you, if you want, you can take 10 seconds and just read the translation of 3.1 and 3.2. You can do it yourself while I'm talking. You're all smart people. But the question is, why fight at all? Instead of, you're telling me to fight, but without material considerations. Why fight at all? again with spiritual consciousness. But why fight? So there's a very important learning here. Okay. Now, please understand, if you read Mahabharata, Arjuna has no doubt that Krishna is Bhagavan. Okay. He has saved the Pandavas and all so many times, which only Bhagavan can do. Isn't it? Giving that unlimited sari to Draupadi. How is it possible? Only Bhagavan can do. And there are so many situations where Arjuna has had experience. So he knows he's talking to Bhagavan, but even to Bhagavan, he's not letting him go easy. Our attitude should be whatever Bhagavan says, we just accept it, isn't it? That's the right attitude. Okay. But our Arjuna is so smart, or rather so, he's not going to take anything at face value. So the point is no blind faith. So Arjuna is asking hard questions, and so should you. If anybody tells you, just accept it, you should ask your Bhagavan has given intelligence, ask the questions. So asking questions is encouraged. And we can see from the example of Arjuna that he is also asking questions, and tough questions. Okay. So Krishna says, okay, so now second chapter is over. We'll take a step back. All right. We will restart the conversation, or not restart, but take it slowly. Now Krishna will go into details. Following? So Lord Krishna is going to talk about a very, very, very essential concept. And the concept here is Karma Yoga concept. The concept of Karma Yoga, which is divided into two parts. So we will see what those two parts are. So, but the essential at a concept level, the concept is, if you see 3.4, 3.5, these two verses, Lord Krishna basically is saying that giving up activity itself is not practical. Can any of you give up all your activity? Now, what is activity? Yeah, everything is activity. Breathing, sleeping, somebody is taking notes here, somebody is listening, somebody is looking, you're blinking your eyelids. All those are activities. And we discussed, right, in breathing also, you are killing some invisible germs or bacteria or some things. And we discussed, right, that's why, just symbolically, some of the Jain Munis put a mask all the time, not because of COVID, but they always keep a mask for that purpose. If you're walking on the street, how do you know that you may have stepped on some small little creature? So you're not only doing actions, potentially you're doing sinful actions. Isn't it? So the point is, giving up activity is not practical at all for us in the material world. And we are all in the material world, and especially in Kali Yuga. And Bhagavad Gita is especially meant for Kali Yuga. It is spoken right at the beginning of Kali Yuga. So, and giving up activity will not lead to spiritual progress, because even if you think you have given up activity, you are still doing some activity and causing not only activity, but sinful activity. Sinful results are getting accumulated. Even when you think you are completely renounced, I have taken sannyas. Okay. Still you will be committing sinful activities, at least unknowingly. It doesn't matter whether it is knowing or unknowing. That is in no system of law. Not knowing the law is never an excuse. Try telling the cop, oh, I didn't know that I should stop at the stop sign. What will he say? If he'll give you probably a bigger ticket. Oh, you didn't even know that? If you at least told that I didn't stop by mistake, then he'll give you a smaller ticket. If you say, I didn't even know, then he'll like, okay, I'm revoking your license. Go back and take the driving test, the theory test. Isn't it? So not knowing the law is never an excuse. You may get, first time, some cases you may get a warning. Okay, that is also true. But it is not possible to completely stop activity, and that too sinful activity. That is the point. So giving up activity is in fact impossible. Lord Krishna is directly saying that in 3.4 and 3.5. Very nice verses. I'll just read those verses. Very, very impactful. There is no doubt in that. So Lord Krishna is saying in 3.4, not by mere, I'll just read the English. Not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction. Okay. If you abstain from work, don't think you will not get reactions, because unknowingly you are doing work. And because you do work, there will be reaction. Correct? And not by renunciation alone can one attain perfection. So you will not even attain perfection by this kind of renunciation. You think, I am not doing any activity, I am renounced. I will not get any reaction, like he asked. My balance is almost zero. Now I will get perfection, means I will get moksha. No, my dear friend, your balance is increasing or whatever, it's going beyond zero, either in plus or minus direction. You think it is zero or you're close to zero and you will make it zero? No. That is 3.4. Are you clear? Very straightforward. It's not complicated. In 3.5, he's saying everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities one has acquired from the modes of material nature. Don't get involved. So it may be complex. What is acquired by modes of material nature? I would say just right now, forget that part. Just forget that part, but focus on the first line. Everybody is forced to act helplessly. Isn't it?
I can give an example.
1 second. And therefore, no one can refrain from doing nothing, not even for a moment. Correct? Yes.
It was like, when you enter a room, something is out of place, you go and put it in place. Unintentionally.
Yeah, those, what is it, OCD, some, I'm saying extreme example. Yeah, some people are like, they want to see everything perfect,
Some people can.
Even like, I'm kind of like little bit like that, something happened today. I was feeling like going to the bathroom, like really, really strong. I was like, I really had to go. So I was walking to the bathroom. I saw something in the bathroom my son had put from here to there. I took those extra 2 seconds to fix that and then go to the bathroom. It was like, it's like some kind of OCD. Anyway, yes. Hi. Yeah. Yes.
Oh, before you're bored, and then okay. So if a mother is pregnant and they're having a baby, but before that baby is born, if it dies, will they move on because they haven't done any sin or done any good?
Okay, very good question. So question was, when the baby is in the womb, or maybe it has just been born, let's just say for the sake of simplicity, we'll not go into Roe v. Wade and whether the baby is, alive or whatever. Let's say the moment it was born, it died. Does it incur any sin? And what happens to the baby? So yes, in that life, now sin is an accumulating balance from past lives. So obviously in that life, he has not accumulated any more sin. In that life, but whatever the past life balance is there, it is continuing. And because he suffered an untimely death, he has repaid some of that sin. Maybe he must have killed some baby, I don't know, as soon as it was born, or he must have killed a pregnant woman, whatever. So he repaid that. So the repayment occurred. Now we don't know how many pregnant women he may have killed. I'm just making it all up, and sorry for making it so graphic. Okay, I apologize, and I know there are children here, but question was asked, so I'll try to answer it as best. So he'll have to repay that sin maybe many times. We don't know all the details. Only Yamaraj knows. Krishna knows. So there is repayment that has occurred by that act and no accrual. So yeah, it's like you have paid one part of your debt. We'll go to the next and then we'll rotate.
I have a question. So you're saying that repayment has been done. So he hasn't lost a chance to make a repayment, or is it like it says that if you're born, then you are given a chance to work on your karma or something?
That is true, but in his case, now again, so the question is that didn't he lose this life? If he had a full life, he could have repaid more, but he could have accrued more also. We don't know. But the point is, for a small child who died like that, okay, that was ordained by higher powers. So we don't know, maybe the higher powers, Yamaraj or whoever, said that, no, this is how you need to, this is what you need to do, not you need to do, but this is what will be done to you. This is what will happen to you in this life. You're not going to be given a further chance to either accumulate or repay. That's just preordained by the higher authorities. We don't know the details. Okay. You are right. Yes, he didn't have that chance to repay more or accumulate more, but that was the decision. It's the judge's decision. The judge's decision is final. All right. Yes.
So suppose that baby only had some good karma, but then as soon as he was born, some bad sin happened to that baby. Would that mean the bad karma would go into negatives and you would have to do some sin to?
No, if the bad thing is happening to the baby, that means there was something for which he repaid by that. Usually, generally, that is the case. Otherwise, in some future life, he will get to extract the sort of, I don't want to use the word, but extract the revenge, so to say, which means he will get a chance to kill, let's say, somebody else who killed the baby. Are you following? Mm-hmm. And at that point, then the cycle continues. Then it will be a vicious cycle. Then he will kill that person. In the next life, that person will kill, and it will be like a constant punching match. Like my two sons. Let's say when they were young, we punch. Why did you hit him? Oh, he hit me first. Oh, why did he? Oh, he hit me first. Now we keep going back and back and back, and there is no accounting of who started. But somewhere we all know somebody started. We all know one person started it somewhere, but then it's like an unaccounted thing. Oh, he hit me first. That's why I hit him. The good thing is then one of them says, okay, I am not gonna hit anymore. That is when the cycle breaks. And that comes from one's free will. We'll move on. Okay, we'll discuss. Any other questions by anyone?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, when we talk about like last session, like we say, like, maybe like your soul is like you are done better in this life. You may born in like, in rich family. What makes them to born in rich family? Like, highest state, soul is trying to born higher state. When we talk about like higher state, born in a rich family is not a higher state. And again, you are binding to material life. Is that a better life, like born to the rich family?
Yes, of course. Compared to what? That is the question. So if you're born as Indra or in the Swarga, last time we talked about the material world and the spiritual world, and then that is even higher than being born in a rich family, even in the family of Bill Gates or whoever is the richest person these days. I don't know. Elon Musk maybe, or Jeff Bezos or whatever, or whoever in a house of any billionaire. Being born in Swarga is much more luxurious than here. In Swarga, there is no COVID, there is no cancer, there are no car accidents. All those can happen even to the richest person here. isn't it? So that one is definitely better. So yes, there are various levels of rich. And we discussed that depending on your punya karma, you get your various level of rich. But yes, it is definitely better to be better in this. Not, I wouldn't say it's better. It is more pleasurable. It's a reward. It's like you earned more, so you get to go to Disneyland and stay in the penthouse. Versus you worked a little bit and you get to go to your local theme park, not to Disneyland or whatever. Are you following? But one day, all that will be, you may have accumulated a big, balance. One day that will be exhausted, and then you will come back. We already discussed this in this class only, right? Did we discuss that?
Yeah, last class.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Last question, and then we'll move on.
Okay, so suppose somebody's born with only good karma, zero bad karma. So if that person is,
Then he will be born in a rich family or one of these kind of places.
yes, but by breathing, would he be doing some sin to invisible bacteria?
Yes, but there are no bacteria in Swarga, for example. So
But-
there you only enjoy.
Yeah,
So if that is his case, now we are all talking about hypotheticals and what ifs and all that, but try to get the concept. Okay, I may not have all the precise answers. You will give me a very, very specific situation and then tell me ask me what happens. At some point I'll have to say I don't know, but try to get the concept. Okay, don't be too attached to, this is also our attachment. That's like going to the astrologer, and I'm talking to the adults now. What will happen? Look at my palm, look at my chart. What will happen to me? What will happen? So this whole desire to know, even if it is like the knowledge is like, oh, something bad is going to happen. It is fulfilling to know beforehand that something bad will happen to me. So many people, the one big thing that astrology answers is, when will I die? So how long will I live? Basically means, when will I die? Isn't it? So everybody wants to know, when will I die? That's one of the big questions in astrology. There's a whole branch of astrology dealing with, when will I die? You're like, what's the point? What are you going to do? What is more important is, what are you going to do between now and then? But what you're going to do between now and then, you better start doing anyway. I mean, why do you have to know? Are you going to do it at the last minute? Is that the purpose? Therefore, Shastras say that live your life as if today is the last day. Then every day you will do the most important thing. For that, you don't need to know when you will die, isn't it? So it's all our attachment, just our attachment to know. This is our attachment for knowledge about the specifics. Will my child get into this college? Now, so many people come and ask me, my child has done this project and this project and this project. Can you tell me, do you think he'll get into this college? Like, how am I supposed to know? I mean, looks good. Yeah. This burning desire to know, that is also an attachment. Please try to realize. Okay. All right. We'll move on. Okay. So Lord Krishna is saying that we were talking about, so just quick recap. Arjuna is asking this question. Between those two options in this verse, right? Why are you telling me option number 2? Why not option number 1? That is the question. And Lord Krishna says, take a step back. First of all, giving up, that is option number 1, right? Don't fight. That is, in that context, it is no action, correct? So he's giving it at a more practical level. It's no longer about bacteria dying from our breath. Let's not get hung up on that thing. It's a bigger concept that giving up activity is impossible. Impossible. 3.5 we just read, right? Not even for a moment you can, but it's impossible. And Lord Krishna will later tell it is because of our swabhava. Swabhava means our innate nature. It is embedded, it is deep rooted in our nature. For Arjuna, it is a kshatriya. It is his nature, not only his duty to fight. Duty, somebody can say, okay, I will not do my duty. Nature means he will be automatically like drawn to it. So he's saying today you will leave when you see from far away that your brothers are struggling. And if you were here, you could have done all this. Your blood will boil and you will come running back anyway. Because your nature is like that. Kshatriya. So that is the point. But that is going to come later. So first of all, at a beginner level, and I have called beginner as advanced looking. You may look advanced if you give up. I'm giving up all activity. Very advanced. But an advanced person, such a person, but not really advanced. Okay? Which means his advanced looking is a pretender. Why? Because one may give up activity externally, but the mind will dwell on the sense objects. And he is called a pretender. There's a very hard-hitting word in 3.6. What is it? Mithyachar. Have you heard this word mithyachar? Mithyachar means he is a pretender. He is a liar or a cheat. Hypocrite. Very nice. Hypocrite. So, mithyacharaha sa uchyate. In 3.6, Lord Krishna is saying. And in 3.7, he says, on the other hand, a sincere and a genuine, but actually less advanced person, even externally, who doesn't pretend to be very advanced, is better. At least he's being sincere and he's sincerely trying. For the pretender, all his focus and all his effort is going in maintaining his facade, not in actually making progress. Just to keep his lie or keep his pretense going, and oh, is somebody looking? Somebody looking. That's where all his energy is going, instead of putting your energy in actually making advancement. So in 3.7, Lord Krishna says, on the other hand, so 3.6, he says, one who restrains the senses of action, but whose mind dwells on the sense objects. Externally, he's like, oh, I'm not looking, but internally he's looking. Certainly deludes himself. He's not only cheating others, the biggest one he's cheating is himself, and is called a pretender. On the other hand, if a sincere person tries to control the active senses by the mind and begins karma yoga in Krishna consciousness without attachment, he is by far superior. So genuine, sincere practitioner is better than a pretender. This is for the less advanced, by the way. Okay, so there are two levels. Remember I told you? Did I tell? Not yet. Now it's coming up. Yeah, right here, 3.8. So what is the solution? Two levels are there. Okay, in the solution space. Okay. One is a beginner level solution. Beginner level, so there are three main points, out of which two are the differentiators between the beginner level and the advanced level. Okay, please pay attention. This is, like I said, continuity is key, not only across sessions, but within a session also. I know it's hard to keep focus for 2 hours, but I'm trying to give you all the main points of Bhagavad Gita in a short period of time. So your attention is necessary. So perform your duty. This part is common in both. Do your duty, whether you're beginner or you're advanced. At a beginner level, the concept is in the mood of sacrifice or yajna. Yajna word will be mentioned at least 15 times in this chapter. Chapter 3, yajna. Now, yajna doesn't just mean a fire sacrifice like a homa. The technical word for that is homa, where you have like a square with the fire and all that stuff. Yajna, and you put stuff into that. You put grains and ghee. That is a sacrifice. It costs money to buy those things. So you're sacrificing things to put into the fire. You're burning them up. Somebody would say, why are you burning up all good stuff? That's a sacrifice. It's an act. It's a symbolic sacrifice. But the main Sanskrit word yajna means sacrifice. Okay. So, in the mood of sacrifice. Okay. So, do your duty, but as a sacrifice. Now, when you're sacrificing, it is for someone, isn't it? Mother does sacrifice for the child. Have you done some sacrifice for your child? Many. Isn't it? So sacrifice, we do it for somebody, correct? So sacrifice you to, or we can say for higher authorities. So at a beginner level, there is this concept of, okay, whatever you're doing and you're getting some result, sacrifice that towards the higher authorities. So this concept of sacrifice. So basically what it does is introduces this or inculcates this notion of selflessness. You're following? You're earning some money. If I say, give half of it to the charity. Okay. I earned all this money so hard. If I only had to be left with half of it, I could have as well worked half the time and enjoyed the rest half. Why should I give you half my money? Isn't it? I worked 8 hours a day. I will enjoy all the output of full 8 hours. Isn't it? So it inculcates the notion of sacrifice, selflessness. So we are not saying, Krishna is not yet saying 100%. Only some of it. Okay, some of it. To higher authority. And the second point is, to whom? Not to somebody who you will benefit from, like an extra benefit. Like, oh, if I give it to this person, then I will get some, return benefit. Not like that, as a duty to the higher authority. So, and in this case, the higher authorities are the devatas. So in 3.11, the word devan is mentioned. Sorry. Kindly keep yourself muted. So to the devatas. So they are the higher authorities. All right. Are you following? So the next question is, who are the devatas? Isn't it? Who are these devatas? Okay, we saw in the last class, Krishna or Narayana is Bhagavan in the spiritual world. Who are the devatas? Now we saw that also last time. Devatas are basically God's government. And I can put here in the material world. Okay. So they are governing. Like I said, you can think of it like a jailer, and it's a government. He's not in the jail, or those security guards. Okay. They don't wear a jumpsuit, do they? No. They wear normal clothes or whatever, their uniform or whatever, but they don't wear the criminal, inmate clothes. So they are the governing body. So devatas, there are so many devatas which are governing. We just talked about, for example, Yamaraj. He's the chief governor. He's the guy who he's the main judge. He gets to say that, oh, you did this bad thing, you get this. So it's all the government of God. So giving something to the higher authorities. So Lord Krishna says, there's a very nice verse, 3.13 and 14. He says, even in 12. So we'll just read 3.12. I will read. In charge of the various necessities of life, the demigods. So the English translation of devatas that is done here is demigods. Okay, that's the English word. You cannot call God. So it has to be something else than God. We call all these are the gods. Sun god, moon god. That's like a kind of a colloquial, khichdi mishmash term. Okay, so it's not, when you say God, then the next question will be, oh, is sun god the same as Krishna or same level? No, God is one. And he is like the king or the president, you can say. The rest of it is the government. There's a hierarchy. So devatas are in the hierarchy. There is one top guy, the owner, the king, whatever you call it, proprietor, chairman, president, whoever, whatever we call Bhagavan. In Bhagavad Gita, it's called Bhagavan. Whenever Krishna speaks, Bhagavad Gita says, Shri Bhagavan Vacha. So the name is Bhagavan. So it has to be a different word than God. So Srila Prabhupada has used the term demigod, means devata. Okay. The demigods being, I'm reading 3.12, in charge of the various necessities of life, the demigods being satisfied by the performance of yajna, again the word yajna is coming, which is sacrifice, will supply all the necessities to you. So doesn't that sound like a government? You pay your tax. And the next line is, but he who enjoys such gifts without offering them to the demigods in return is certainly a thief. So this is the kind of guy who is not paying his taxes. Okay, you get to use the nice roads, you get to use all the nice system that is there, but you don't pay your taxes. So what does that make you? A tax fraud and a thief. So in the next verse, that is exactly what is said. The devotees of the Lord are released from all kind of sins because they eat food which is first offered for sacrifice. So you can still enjoy. Bhunjate, that is the word here. Bhunjate means to enjoy in 3.13. So you get to enjoy. It's not like you are giving everything. Are you clear? But you give little bit, you offer. So you earn $100, you give $30 to the government, you get to keep 70. Now in our case, even if we offer the food, you offer a full plate. So every day we are supposed to offer something. Whatever we make, we should offer to God. And they are so nice, they don't take even anything. They just are happy that you are willing to offer. Does the size of the plate reduce? No. So they give everything back to you. They are just happy that you showed your willingness to offer. All right. But we should show that willingness. It's an act of acknowledging that they exist. And I am grateful. Thank you for giving me this, or whatever we have got. Okay. So enjoy the governmental protection. And this whole concept is called sakama karma yoga. It is part of karma yoga, and it's the beginning level. Like I said, there are two levels. The second level is coming. But this is the beginning level, and this is sakama karma yoga. Because why it is sakama? Kama means what? What does kama mean?
Desire.
Desire for enjoyment. Some kind of enjoyment, right? Not desire for pain. Desire for some pleasure. So when you eat nice food, you get pleasure. So you do get some pleasure from this activity of karma yoga. That's why it is called sakama, with pleasure. Why? So there's this whole cycle called dharma, artha, kama, moksha. But I have cut out the word moksha here because you do your activity, dharmic activity, your, Like you work and you pay your taxes. That's your dharma. You get the result, which is like, let's say, food or whatever benefits. And kama means you enjoy. And then you go back to doing dharma. So this cycle like this, even though I'm showing arrows going like this cycle keeps on going. Okay. But there is no moksha here. There is no moksha here. Okay. Moksha will come in the next higher level, which we will discuss. So at this level, it is just dharma, artha, kama. What is the purpose? The purpose is regulated sense gratification, like we just discussed. To inculcate the notion of giving up something. Give something. It is not like the present day government. The present day government cannot survive if we don't pay taxes. That is their source of revenue. They are building all these big tanks and, whatever things, funding the Ukraine war, and so many things are happening. And even all the, everything, all the infrastructure, bridges and roads. But that is not the case with God's government. God has enough resources. Like in Saudi Arabia, I think they have so much oil. There are no taxes, they say. Once their oil will be over, then they will have to tax their people. But right now they have so many surplus, so much money that I think the people pay zero taxes. Anybody knows?
In Dubai.
Huh? No taxes, right? Because they have so much money. Huh? Bahrain, all the Middle East. There are no taxes because they have so much money. God's government is kind of like that 10, 100 million X times better, right? They don't need any taxes, but when the citizens go and pay, that's a good thing. Are you following? So in that sense, it is unlike this government where the government will collapse if there are no taxes. It's not like they are in want of our taxes. That's not the case. So please keep that in mind, okay? We should not think we are sustaining God's government. Anyway, we give a full plate, he gives him back. So we write a check, tax check for $1,000, we get a tax refund of $1,000. It's like that. They're just happy that we sent the check. They give it back. So this is regulated sense gratification. It increases our selflessness. And that is what is also mentioned in the Vedas in 15 and 16. Lord Krishna is talking about the Vedas, that this is, the idea is to take you to the higher level, slowly and slowly. So what is the higher level? This is the higher level. This is known as Nishkama Karma Yoga, and we'll stop here and take some questions. The higher level is Nishkama Karma Yoga. This is very, very important. And this is where I have used the word, now the moksha is not cut out, but kama has been cut out. All right. Does it make sense for those who are following it with the attention? I can see some heads nodding. Does it make sense? So what it means is, at a higher level, remain self-satisfied. Atma triptaha. Same thing as eva atmanyasya tushtaha. Remain self-satisfied. Tushta means, or tripta, same thing, right? Tripta, tushta. After you have a nice lunch, if you are tripta ho gaya, right? Satisfied. So remain self-satisfied. Remain satisfied in your spiritual identity. And in that level, there is no need for both. That is what is said in 18. No need to perform duty and no need to not perform duty. Both are equal. When you are completely self-satisfied, when you know that I'm a spirit soul, what you are doing or not doing is immaterial.
Because it will become your second nature. It won't be duty anymore. You just do it, right? You just
No, not because of your nature.
because of self-satisfaction.
Because of self-satisfaction, there is no need to do duty or to not do duty, because you are not deriving any pleasure from the duty, from the work itself, nor from the fruits. Nothing. It's just a mechanical thing going on. Okay. Are you following? Therefore, now Lord Krishna is saying, therefore, what he is going to say is, act. Do your action without being attached to the fruit or the result of the duty. Just do your action without being attached to the duty or the fruits, with no attachments to anything. Just do your duty. Do the action. Are you following? Because both are equal. And the benefit is, there is some benefit there. It's not that there is no benefit. The benefit is not material. Typically, whatever work you do, it leads to material benefits. But this kind of work will lead to spiritual benefit, which is moksha. Are you following? So in 3.19, this is a very, very important verse, which is the definition, the core definition of Nishkama Karma Yoga. 3.19, it says, therefore, without being attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty. Just because it needs to be done, not because you like to do it. Because it needs to be done. For working without attachment, one attains the supreme. Param apnoti purushaha. Param apnoti means one attains the highest destination or the spiritual destination. Param apnoti purushaha. So you do your work, you will get the results, but you don't enjoy the results. That kama is cancelled out here. And in this way, if you keep doing dharma, artha, no kama, dharma, artha, no kama, dharma, artha, no kama, like this, you lead your life, you will go to moksha. Are you following? Now, one thing I will say, and we will stop and take some questions, that this whole thing is not the highest level. Mind you, there is a reason I have not said highest. It leads to moksha, but there are other paths that lead to moksha. And there also there are various levels or categories. And the Bhagavad Gita is going to describe all that in the coming chapters. So Bhagavad Gita does not have 3 chapters, so don't stop here. The 3rd chapter is not the last chapter. There are 15 more chapters to go. There's a lot of new content coming in, new. It is not a expansion or just a detailed explanation of the same content. Kindly mute yourself. Somebody is not muted. Okay. But we will stop here. All right. So we didn't complete chapter 3. Next time we will complete 3, maybe start 4. So like we did today. So it's hard to kind of, keep the chapter boundary match with the class boundary. So we'll keep going at a fast pace. And wherever the chapter ends, we'll just start the new video for those on the YouTube or whatever later. Okay, so let's see what questions are there. I am not seeing any questions on the chat. So are there any live questions by people on Zoom or in the room? You can raise your hands. We can take 5-10 minutes of questions and then we will end here. Any questions? Everything was perfectly clear. Did you have any questions? You were raising your hands, or this is your chance to ask questions. Nobody else is asking.
There's somebody on the Zoom.
Okay.
Namaste.
Hare Krishna. Namaste.
Hare Krishna. So, I had a question about I think verse 71 on the previous chapter, you were talking about the qualities
Eternal
of
peace.
the sthita prajna. I think you were saying the niḥspṛhaḥ, nirmamo,
And nirahankara.
Yeah. So I think when we're talking about the niḥspṛhaḥ, here this is to be understood as material desire, correct?
Correct. Absolutely correct.
Okay. Not the
Absolutely
spiritual
correct.
desire.
No. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking that. That's a
Yeah.
good clarification. It's about material desires.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So verse 71 is talking about, let me just share my screen quickly again. Was talking about peace or eternal peace, or sa shantim adhigacchati. He goes towards peace, which means by living this life in a niḥspṛhaḥ, nirmama and nirahankara way, this current life that you are living is full of shanti. So that is already a benefit. How many of you have full shanti in your life? Huh? You have full shanti in your life?
Sometimes.
No, all the time I said. Look at the word eternal. Eternal means all the time. Huh? So arguably nobody is fully peaceful. There are always troubles and some suffering is there, isn't it? So it is not just that the spiritual progress that we are trying to do in this niḥspṛhaḥ, nirmama, nirahankara way, the only thing is to get moksha at the end of the life. No, that's not the only payoff. This life itself becomes very peaceful. Please try it, and then you will realize the moment you even try a little bit, you will see big results. So much peace will come in your life. And the kind of things that give you whatever is the anti for peace, anxiety, or some kind of suffering, mental suffering, pain, is mainly due to some very petty desires that people should acknowledge me, people should appreciate me, or oh, I did so much, he didn't do this little thing, he didn't come in my birthday party. And then somebody will tell you, oh, but he went to the park, I saw him in the park. Oh, he had time to go there, but not here. And then, half a day will go.
It doubles.
All that, so much attachment to, my acknowledgement, my party. I left, such a, important meeting, and I went to his birthday party, but he couldn't even leave this to come to mine, and or he didn't, bigger one. He didn't invite me to his birthday party. That's the bigger one. That's the bigger one. Right? So many things, just such nice peace comes if we give up these petty attachments. So peaceful. Not only that, so that is what 71 was talking about. I'm just going a little ahead. There were no questions. And 72 is talking about the end result. So you can call, like, my children are in college. So it's like, these are your results of the midterms and the quizzes, which is already good. While you are in the semester, you are already getting the benefit. And this is your final exam test result. So both. So it's not just that you're slogging through the semester or your life with no result till the very end, you are just there. This life itself also becomes very nice and peaceful. Yes, Kirubakaran Prabhu, you have a question. You're on mute.
Oh, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Arjuna, by doing his duty without any material attachment, which is killing the opponents in the battlefield, how do we know that he didn't accumulate any bad karma? And the reason I ask is this: if I do a duty without any material attachment, if someone gets affected because of my acts, how do I know that I am not being inflicted with a bad karma?
Yes, very nice question. I hope everybody heard that question. So, first of all, the keeper of all karma is Yamaraj in the material world, who is like a cabinet minister of Bhagavan, Krishna or Narayana. Okay. And the law book says that if you do any activity with no material consciousness, zero, then you will not accumulate karma. Now, your question was appended or prepended with a if I did this Arjuna, or if Arjuna did. That is a big if. Only Arjuna himself may not know. Only Krishna will know, Yamaraj will know whether he really did it with absolutely 0.00000 spiritual or material consciousness. 100%, 100.00% material spiritual consciousness he did. The law says he will not accumulate any karma. That is the law. There the matter ends. Now, whether he actually did it with that consciousness or not is only known by the judge. Okay. But having said that, now, therefore I said, so that was Arjuna. The question now really comes to us. Bhagavad Gita is for us. We are not just reading Bhagavad Gita about like a auto or a biography of Arjuna, what happened to him. It is meant for us, and we also may not know, just like I said, you may not know that whether we are doing it with 100% spiritual consciousness or not. Therefore, it is going to be very hard to do activities with zero material consciousness. And there is a better solution which is coming in the future chapters. We will see. I'm giving you a little bit of and you know it. I know you are asking it for every other's benefit because you're a past student. He's been planted to ask questions. So I'm just joking. It's a genuine question, but even Arjuna will reject this in the 6th chapter, saying all this you are saying is very impractical. Please tell me a more practical way, because it's not possible to know all these things. So please hang tight. Like I said, Bhagavad Gita does not end in chapter 3. It absolutely does not make sense for you to stop reading Bhagavad Gita at chapter 3 or 2. Please read it fully, and then you will get the full benefit, the full picture. Otherwise, it's like watching the movie for the first 10 minutes, and then you may end up with the conclusion that the villain was the hero and the hero was the villain. And you'll come up with all kind of mixed up conclusions. When you watch till the end, then you will know who was the good guy, the bad guy, all the details, right? Okay.
Thank you.
Sunita Mataji, you have a question?
Yes, in your last slide, you had strike through the karma. Enjoyment, what would life be? And when you are doing something and you are not enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
So how it's just monotonous, then it will become monotonous when you don't enjoy the work that you are doing.
No. So I hope you were listening to the whole class. We talked about replacing it's not about enjoyment period, it is about material enjoyment. And when we replace material enjoyment with spiritual enjoyment, that is higher taste.
Okay.
So when we start practicing and when we apply that, we will see there is just so much higher taste in that. And we had a 10-minute discussion on it. I gave especially, marked it out.
Yeah,
so yes, there is tremendous.
But I couldn't relate. Yeah.
So that is higher enjoyment, and there is tremendous enjoyment there. So much so, I have seen people, and they can't just stop themselves from enjoying spiritually. There's just too much enjoyment.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't relate it with that. I heard that, but I couldn't relate it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think in the room there were a couple of hands.
Yeah, so going back to the previous person's question, I think the question more he was trying to ask was, let's say I'm going to give you an example. I work for a company, let's say I work for a company that makes alcohol. I am doing all kinds of, spiritual work to the company and all that.
But other people are getting
Exactly. So
negatively
the product is
affected.
actually hurting people.
Yeah, let me
So-
just say not only alcohol, let's say you're working for a butcher,
Right.
meat industry or whatever. Then
And
what?
the product is hurting.
Correct. So you are getting the karma. Absolutely. It's like not only in the I don't know, I was walking on the street and maybe I stepped on a little ant. I don't know. Here one is knowingly doing it. And once one has the knowledge, maybe somebody says that I don't know that killing animals was a sin. Now that one knows, one should do something to give that up. So one should give that up. That is a sinful activity. Or if one can do it, now that is a big if, big if. In a complete spiritual consciousness, as spiritual means I am a spirit soul, this animal that is being killed is also a spirit, the body is dying, the spirit. One can say that at some level it becomes just word jugglery, but if somebody is doing it with that consciousness completely, then it would not attract any karma. All right. There's only one example that I have come across of this, and not in the Vedic literatures, but it's a nice example and I will mention it. It's in the Quran. They also talk about this. And remember, there was a battle. Muhammad, who was the prophet, led 2 battles. First, he was defeated, and then he went to Medina, and then came back and recaptured Mecca. If you have read the Quran, a little summary version. Anyway, so there was a war, and he was about to kill an enemy soldier with the sword, cut his head off. And in that moment, just before that act, that person who was, nihatha, he was unarmed. So he was sure to be like, he spat at him, okay, at Muhammad. And in that moment, he got a slight amount of anger. And then he says, now I can't kill you. Because now if I kill you, it will be because of my anger. So it gives some sense that I don't know what I haven't gone so much in. You get the sense. But that is because he was Muhammad, a great prophet. Okay. So we will talk about much more practical and easier solutions in Bhagavad Gita of how to do action which does not attract any reaction without this whole sort of very hard level of consciousness. Okay. Does that help?
Yeah.
To some extent? Okay. I don't see any other hands. We'll take that one offline. Okay, go ahead, because
Oh, I have one very simple. So like the example that you're giving where you did this, you think you're doing good for others and then you expect something good. I know you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't expect anything, but it's your human nature. Instead, you didn't get any good response. Instead, you get a bad response. Like, how do you deal with it? Like, you have a mind, right? That's constantly. How do you numb it? That's.
so that's first of all, it's a purely material question.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Right.
And the Bhagavad Gita answer is that you did not deserve the good response because of some past actions, maybe, or maybe that person, 2 possibilities, or that person was just plain mean. Whatever you experience, whatever results you experience are an output of one of 2 options, either your past karma or somebody else's fresh new karma when they start the cycle. Like I said, when 2 brothers fight, every time, one hits the other, let's say punches, it's not because he remembers, oh, 3 days back you punched me, so it's just because, today I'm feeling like being a mean person, and I'll just, you are sleeping and I'll just punch you because, it feels good to punch a sleeping person, whatever. You see? So it could be just that plain person is plain mean. And the material world, in the later on in Bhagavad Gita, we will see this material world. What is the purpose of this material world? The purpose of material world is not to keep us happy. Okay? God is not our order supplier. Then he would have become not God, but servant. It is the servant's job to keep the master happy. That's what a servant is called, right? Who is a servant? Servant is in a relationship to a master, and the job of the servant is to keep the master happy, or the other way around. Then we are God and God becomes servant. That's not the case. Okay? So this material world at some points is unfair, because people, and this we are discussing in Ishopanishad, Ishavashyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjita na dhrida kasya svidhanam. Well, the first instruction of Ishopanishad is that God has given a quota to everyone in this material world. You're supposed to stay in that quota. If you encroach on somebody else's quota, you will suffer. So that person decided to encroach on your quota. You did something good, he should have acted good. What he decided to encroach on your quota.
It's not you to do anything.
It's not, may not be, maybe you did something in the past, or maybe you don't, I don't know, you didn't, but he just did it. And either you can, get back at him, take revenge and all, and then the cycle will continue. Or if you are a person who is a student of Bhagavad Gita, you will let go. Tam stitikshasva bharata 2.14. We talked about it, tolerance. Okay. All right, we will stop here officially. I am here to answer as many questions as you want, but officially I want to respect the time. And I'm already guilty of not respecting by 17 minutes that we overshot. I apologize. But I am here to answer all and every question, but officially we will end the class here. We will continue with chapter 3 next time and start chapter 4 as well, just like we did today. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you.